Hello and welcome back to another Reaconteur video, and in today's video I'll be going over the stereotypes of the various partial modes like Shrift, Shikai, and Partial Resurrection, and for the people who use all of them. Make sure to subscribe since only about 20% of the people watching right now are actually subscribed, and now let's get into it. If you use Shadow, you either play Keto or Kendo, and you only know like two combos, one that relies on Shadow and one that relies on your moveset, and probably also can utilize Shadow. And you have no real capability or skill to make mix-ups or cover yourself, which is why you probably throw out Shadow Snake and Delay Death as soon as you're off cooldown for them, because you can't get punished, and Shadow Snake just covers 90% of someone's options in a fight while it's out. You would think that because it's a common, people probably wouldn't use it, but most Shadow users are actually pretty smart and use it because Shadow Tendril has true combos into at least 2 moves per tree, so they often like to spam those confirms. A good example of this is Shadow Tendrils into Sonata Flow, and I believe Sonata Flow actually has the most true combos in the entire game. What a fun move that takes so much skill to use. If you use Water, either you don't know codes exist, or you used all your rerolls for the hopes of a legendary or mythical. Or maybe you're just trying super hard to be different, because Water just isn't worth using. Like, ever. If you use Lightning Shikai, you just can't aim. I know you can't aim because you run Lightning because 2 of your 3 moves auto-target and the 3rd move just has a massively oversized hitbox in comparison to what it looks like. Lightning Shikai users really just aren't very good and just spam Lightning and Keto moves, or they try to land confirms into Shadow Flow because 90% of them use Kendo as well. Creation users are the sweatiest metamancing tryhards of all time. I know this because you heard Creation C was busted and the rest of the moveset was trash, but you still insisted on going on Creation because one move is a guaranteed posture breaking stun. So you decided to make a build just to abuse it until it gets nerfed, and you do this literally every time a new broken combo comes out, which is why you end up using more blue pills than, anyone has ever used red pills. Confusion users swear that Confusion is crazy because the counter infinitely refreshes, but like, it's a 0.2 second activation window and you're never gonna land it. I guess if you can land it every time, it would be crazy, but the thing is, you're not going to. Alternatively, Confusion users think it's good because the confusion effects and screen reversal, which when they work can get you free combos, but also like, you can just block it, so it's not that great and it's not ever going to work. Confusion's pretty mid right now. Berserk is really strong right now. Like, right now, this could actually be anyone. For the Shikai, that is. Berserk is actually pretty common to see used in ranked because of the Shikai. However, in the overworld, it's way rarer because the full mode Bankai for Berserk is just kind of trash. I mean, the passive skill is basically useless. Like, I didn't even know it existed until I was doing the research for this video. Fire Shikai is for people who like combos. Right now the C move, known as Borin, is really good because it's 3 slashes that combo out of like any move in the Hakudim skill set. So a lot of Fire Shikai users also use Flame Shunko since the aerial crit also combos out of Borin, and also the particles from Flame and Fire Shunko make it impossible to tell what the fuck is going on because the fire is literally everywhere. You can't even see what move they're using because all you can see is the hot fiery flames of hell where all of the Fire Shikai and Shunko users are going. Nobody uses Judgment except for Phoenix, right, fans? The main gimmick of Judgment doesn't even work properly, so why would you use it? I don't know. Nobody uses Judgment, though. It's bad. Wind is kinda like Berserk, except better, as in Wind users could be literally anyone in ranked, because Wind Shikai is really, really good right now. All 3 of its moves are crazy combo starters, so a ton of people are running Wind Shikai with either Ice or Wind Shunko. This is because Hakuda's weakest part is the fact that it's kinda just hard to start combos sometimes, as people are running, but Wind just, removes this weakness with Shunko because it gives you 3 extra combo starters. Generally, Wind Shikai users are super tryhard Shunko users though, and what they end up doing is just spamming the same 2 or 3 combos because Hakuda is really not that hard to play. If you use Zangetsu, you want to be Ichigo so bad. Zangetsu is honestly really mediocre, so the only possible reason for using it is because it's Ichigo's and you thought it would be cool and you like the Getsuga Tensho. Or you just couldn't get anything better off spins and thought it would be cool to use Zangetsu because it's really not that bad. Anyone using poison is only using it because they wanted to get their first Bankai. If you use poison, you couldn't beat your first Bankai, and went poison because it was glitched a few weeks ago. Poison's just kinda okay, so probably you still use it because it works, but most of the time you only went poison because you wanted to try Bankai out for the first time, and you heard it was glitched, so it was just a free win. If you use ink, you're probably one of two people. Kendo user who hasn't realized that surprisingly the Shikai that forces you to use a sword is better for the fist path. Or 2, the Hakata user who disables all your moves and breaks animations because they're not meant to have ink Shikai weapon in the mix with them. Which is why it's super hard to read their moves because you're looking for the fists, but they got this stupid big ass paintbrush blocking everything they do, and then boom, your skill set's disabled, and the ink Hakata user just traps you in a combo infinitely. Once again, this one could be anyone. Blood is currently, in my opinion at least, the best Shikai, and its Bankai is also decently strong. You can realistically use Blood with any build, and it'll be good regardless of what you're using, because it really just works well with anything. It's kinda like Stark, but, you know, for Soul Reapers. If you're still using Ice, you probably just haven't rolled off of it yet. Ice just got hit with some hard nerfs, and right now most people are rolling off of it immediately as soon as possible to get something else, like, you know, Blood, maybe Benihime. Or maybe you're waiting for it to get buffed because, you know, you really like Ice, so maybe you're just holding on to it and not crutching on it anymore while waiting for it to get a small buff, so that way it can be restored to a fraction of its former glory. If you use Flower, you're either using Hakata Flower because, you know, the weapon makes the animations harder to read, or you're using Flower to be annoying with Kendo. Usually Flower users are pretty good at the game because they don't need to use crutches to win, and Flower is just a decent Shikai that could help good players flourish. Alternatively, you spam Sonata Flow, true fucking combos into like Horizon Core every chance you get, in which case, yeah, your essence carried. Get out of my game. If you use Theater, you probably play Kendo Speed as well, and you probably just spam every move you have. Most Theater users are pretty bad, and I'm really not sure why. They also usually spam Wraith whenever they can to, you know, open combos, and they try super hard to combo everything they have and to eviscerate Sonata Flow or Flash Fang, depending on their build. A lot of the time, what they just do that doesn't ever work is, boom, Flower Passage straight into Cagione, because Flower Passage usually forces a dodge, but, the funny thing is, you can just, you know, dodge Cagione right after because it's really not that good. And then half the time they start the fight sitting in the middle of the arena waiting for you to do something so they can spam the counter because they suck at the game and need a free combo opener. If you use Suzumabachi, you are currently in shambles. You have never been more build carried in your life, and now that Suzumabachi has been gutted, you're holding on to it, praying they buff it, and you fall asleep crying, waiting for them to buff it again and restore Suzumabachi to its former glory. And here, I'm just gonna let you in on a little secret. It will never be as good as it once was, but the Z move might get a buff. You know, because it fucking sucked before the nerfs. If you use Benihime, you cry when you lose 1v1s in ranked because it's not strong enough to outright carry you to free wins anymore. Benihana users also usually just take the chance to complain about how the Bankai needs a rework every chance they get, even though they only play in ranked and crutch their builds on 1v1s every chance they get. Storm, the first partial res, because there are so many Shikais. Storm is super underrated. If you see someone using Storm, they're probably Hakata, and there's like a 90% chance they're crazy at the game and realize how good Storm is in a time where nobody else really pays attention to it because it gets outshined by other legendaries. Storm users are basically Lightning users who spam auto-target moves, except they're Arankars, and they're usually actually pretty good at the game. You know, if you count Hakata True combos with Storm as being good at the game. But, you know, they work. Every Slash user runs Hakata. You use Byakuya to combo start and use Slashes to combo extend. Every Slash user runs the same build and does the same boring combos. They're also all generally mediocre at the game and play the exact same playstyle, where they forget the Z move exists, don't use it, and they always just throw it out in neutral if they have it. Bone users are the exact same as Slash users with a little bit more nuance, because instead of every Bone user using the same Hakata build, it's actually two different builds. Every Bone user is either the same copy-paste Kendo Speed build or the same copy-paste Hakata build. They always use the X move, Rupturing, for the free combo starter, and half of them use it into Sonata Flow while the other half use it into Tora Reach. Nobody uses acid. Like, let's be real. For the 2 acid users about to comment on this video about how you use acid because, oh, I'm Hakuda, and if I hold them in a combo while I have my poison aura up, it does true damage. It's not that good. Stop trying to be different, go get some rerolls, and get just about anything else, because just about anything else would be better. I have not seen Phoenix being used in action since it came out, so I guess the stereotype for Phoenix is that you probably couldn't get anything better, because why else would you be using it? Spirit users pretty much all just use Hakuda because it combos well out of everything with the Seropalm move. The Seropalm move is the Hakuda Arankar equivalent of the old Suzumebachi Soul Reapers, who would spam the TP move into Sonata Flow. Except now it's Seropalm, and instead of Sonata Flow, it's Tora Reach. Devil users love spamming that stupid beam move. You're across the arena, beam. You're mid-combo, beam. You're fighting someone else in 2v2s, but the guy your partner is fighting has Devil, he's gonna land a stray beam on you in the middle of his fight before his teammate hits you with an 8-piece combo, because you just got beamed. Fishman Karate users love AoE territorial-based moves. They don't have the essence because they can't find it, but they always use the X move and sit in it. They're just like death-dealing users, except they don't suck as much and crutch on it as hard. Who knew Panthera would be another partial res that appeals to Hakuda players? Most of you couldn't get light and went for Panthera because the X move is a teleporting combo starter like Suzumebachi or Spirit. Except for some reason this one's better for Tora Reach than Shada Flow, which is why most people use Hakuda with it instead of like Kendo. Aragante is up next, and who knew? Another partial res that appeals to Hakuda Arankar. I totally wasn't expecting another one, or maybe like 2 more. The C move basically works the exact same as Panthera X. It goes into Tora Reach, however, instead of being exclusive to Hakuda, the C move also combos into Sonata Flow Eviscerate, because everything in this game does. And everything in this game appeals to either Hakuda or Kendo, so Aragante users are like 90% Hakuda and 10% Kendo, and they love spamming C move true combos. Which, funny little story, but most people don't know this, is a little bit of insider information. For some reason, the way this game is scripted on Spaghetti Code, pretty much everything new that isn't of a skill tree scales off of Kendo by default, and the devs have to wait and see if something new, like Suzumebachi, scales off of Kendo before they go into the script of the new moveset like Suzumebachi was before the nerf, and then they have to like nerf it by removing its Kendo scaling. So just know, for everyone watching this video right now, if you're a Kendo player, anytime a new like Shikai comes out, try it out with Kendo, because I guarantee you there's like a 90% chance it's gonna scale off of Kendo by accident, and at 40 Kendo it's gonna do max damage and posture damage. If the devs are watching this, please don't ban me because I said that. Anyone using Volcanica usually has an insanely annoying playstyle and refuse to run if all your counter-attacking options are covered. They usually spam the C move lava pillars and stand inside of them while trying to combo you, because if they're in their own pillars, they can't get punished for being bad at the game, which is why they all sit in their own pillars and try and get you to sit in their pillars as well. I hate Volcanica users. Anyone could be using Stark. I use Stark, and it doesn't even really complement my build that well. It's just good. But Stark users are one of a few types of people. You either use Serra Corazon to combo and occasionally escape combos like I do, in which case you're a normal person. Alternatively, you only use Serra Corazon defensively and won't ever use it if it's not a guaranteed hit and combo escape for you. In which case, you're a bitch. Stop playing like that. You're gonna lose anyway, you could at least try and have some fun. And the third type of person is the person who abuses the dog. Not literally, of course. When I say you abuse the dog, I mean you abuse its utility. Strata Strike Buster true combos, Shori Buster true combos, Buster into Eviscerate, into Shada Flow true combos. You are a loser, and I don't like you if this is your playstyle. Usually these are the people who also run Sonido Cero despite it being the worst move, and sometimes you'll even find hybrids of people who use Cero Corazon only defensively and abuse the dog, in which case you need to soul ticket immediately, and you're the reason why people think Cero Corazon still needs a nerf. If you use Vamp, you like Ulquiorra. Nobody is using Vamp who isn't an Ulquiorra fan because it's just really not good right now. Alternatively, you could be a boss rating god who plays in the overworld more than ranked, and you use it because the Segunda is good and the healing is fun and keeps you alive for the 1v15. But most Vamp users are probably hoping it gets buffed and is good again, and don't worry, it probably will be. Honestly, I don't even think saying the stereotype for light is necessary. Like, we all know it. It's another partial which appeals to, you guessed it, Hakata players. Anyone using light spams the moves and throws them out as soon as they're off cooldown. Or they use the C move because it's a frame 1 massive pillar of light with an even bigger hitbox than it already looks like it is that true combos in and out of every move in the Hakata skill set except Rising Shot because that move is trash. First of all, we are finally onto these shrifts, but second of all, isn't it funny how every shrift in the game basically sucks right now except for like 3? Whatever. Iron users need to abuse Iron, and they used to abuse the Iron Quincy Warden Hakata true combos, but since that's nerfed, Iron is scantily seen, so nobody really uses Iron anymore. Nobody uses wind. There's no stereotype here. You know how like in Soundsmith's videos, he'll skip over something completely if nobody uses it? Yeah, that's wind. Heat users probably run Keto and like to get true combos with the blade move that for some reason stuns for like 2 seconds and leaves you ragdolled. And then the gun move is just thrown out whenever they can because it does so much damage for being a stupid little fast move that comes out of nowhere. Heat users are basically the creation users of Quincy's. They abuse metas whenever they find out about them and are loyal to no singular build and will change every update just so that way they can abuse whatever's the strongest. Most people assume Fear is mid if they don't know anything about Type Soul because it's a rare, but Fear is actually one of the best shrifts right now. Fear is kind of like the Stark of shrifts in my opinion, as it goes in with any build and doesn't synergize with anything specifically. Right now, most Fear users are using Hakata though, because surprisingly, it does synergize specifically with Shori. Because Impale, which is the ranged move with Shori, confirms it, and the Fear Extension T move is just a free combo starter, so it synergizes well with Hakata. But you know, it's another move that combos into Sonata Flow, so Kendo is often used with it too, but that's just weird, because barely anyone uses Kendo Quincy, because it's really not great. I have seen it though. I keep hearing people who use power or seeing people claiming to use power, but I never see anyone using power. All I know is the only guy who I've ever fought in ranked against power didn't deserve to win that fight. Because I ran out of Reiatsu with full health and he hyper armored through Waterfall Dance while he was like one shot. Basically, power users barely exist. But I just want to complain about that anymore. Why do I have no Reiatsu? I was full health with 0 Reiatsu, and then from there it actually, like, the fight actually starts because now I can't do anything. And then he's one shot. I can't do much. I use Waterfall Dance. He punches me through with power and I lose while he's one shot. Like, come on, that's not fair. Give me more Reiatsu, devs. You know how Soundsmith's videos, like in them, he skips stereotypes for things that nobody uses? Yeah, compulsory is that. You know how No, I'm joking. Thunderbolt is pretty bad, but it has one thing going for it. The long-ass wind-up ranged garbage, terrible, awful garbage, terrible move that nobody should ever use, surprisingly, true combos into Horizon Essence. So anyone using Thunderbolt is definitely hard Essence carried and spams this combo whenever they can, as their only saving grace to win fights is Essences. What's funny about it, though, is that the long-ass wind-up range garbage trash terrible move that true combos into Horizon Essence is a terrible long-range trash move. So yeah, it true combos into Horizon Essence, but you have to land it first. Visionary was once overpowered and it is now not. Anyone using it probably just hopes it gets buffed so it can be anywhere near as strong as it was before. Because like even the literal meteors falling from the sky aren't even like at all what they look like in terms of hitbox. Like they're so small. I wanted to say you're also probably a Gremmy fan, but those don't exist because I don't think Gremmy has any fans. He's such a terrible character. Miracle falls into what I call Curse of the Old Shrifts, which is basically any shrift not reworked or made after Fear is just painfully mediocre, and Miracle is just so painfully mediocre. The only saving grace for Miracle is that the G move does a lot of posture damage and can usually guard break if blocked, but other than that it kinda sucks. The Vorstern Ditch is good though, so you can also just be the guy who like logs on every half an hour to pop on some randoms and then leave, or, you know, play in raids only. You loud bitch. I hate glutton users. I know the audio's been made quieter, but even now it still somehow manages to be the loudest thing in the game. Regardless, glutton users are either bad keto players or crutched or Hakata players. If it's the former, they spam the maw, which is the yellow ball, and try their hardest to land the bite raw with no combo. If it's the latter, they try and spam Hakata combos and end them with the maw into the bite every time without fail. And when I say without fail, I mean they do not fail to attempt it, because they often fail to hit the combo because they suck. Superstar Shrift is mid, but I know exactly what Superstar players love to do in raids. They wait until Art of the Soul raids, pop it in the zone, and then they spam the C move as much as possible to launch people miles out of the zone in an attempt to kill them instantly with minimal effort inputted. And someone tried to do this to me in the same raid where I clutched the 1v10, which is the footage you're watching now. So if you use Superstar, I hate you. Not because Superstar is OP, but because Superstar is so annoying in raids. If you use balance solo, it is such a huge crutch to you. You obviously have no friends, and the reason why you use balance is because you spam heal yourself in ranked arena because you suck at the game and can't survive without the extra healing coming with balance. Alternatively, you have friends and you play a support build and you're not a bad person, but I still hate fighting against you and your friends because I can't kill any of you. Because somehow you're out healing 2 Cero Metraetas. I wish death dealing wasn't mid. Not because I use it or anything, but because I wish it was good enough to gut and nerf and basically remove from the meta from the game so I would never have to see it. Because Gift Bad is potentially the most annoying AoE in the entire game, and I just wish it were better so it could be worse and then never seen again. Regardless, 99% of death dealing users love moves like Sonata Flow because they just hold you in the AoE, slowing you down, and then once you're in the AoE, they're gonna spam as hard as they can so you don't escape because you can't flash step. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Big shout out to Kenix of the Bigger Guy YouTube membership tier. If you want shoutouts like Kenix, then buy a tier 2 or higher YouTube membership. And as always, I drop monthly song covers for YouTube members regardless of the tier. So if you want to hear me sing, then buy that. It's only like $5 a month. I doubt you're that broke. I love you all. Goodbye, and I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.